Good evening. Welcome to the August 28th, 2018 regular business meeting of the School District of Indian River County School Board. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Please rise and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Next order of business is the adoption of the orders of the day. Are there any items board members wish to move from consent to action? Mr. Searcy.
Consent E to action.
Okay, consent E to action. Any others? No? Hearing none. At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
I move approval of the orders of the day as amended.
Okay, Ms. Justice with a motion, Mr. Searcy with a second. So I can speak to your motion or your second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 4-0. Next order of business is presentations. Dr. Rendell, you're recognized for a series of presentations.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We actually have two short videos and a proclamation. I'm going to turn it over to our Public Information Officer, Kristen Maddox.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. We have two videos for you tonight. The first one is a video on the Dodgertown Elementary School Tunnel of Hope that occurred last week on Monday. And if you haven't been to a Tunnel of Hope at one of our schools yet, I would definitely encourage you to attend. It's a great feeling to greet the students on a Monday morning, especially it being early in the school year, and welcome them into school and have them walk down the tunnel. And you'll see on the video, but lots of members of our community and our school district go out with signs and cheers just to welcome them in and give them a good greeting for their first or second week of school. So enjoy the video.
I am a kid at Hope.
I am talented, smart, and capable of success.
I have dreams for my future, and I will climb to reach those goals and dreams every day.
Welcome to Dodgertown Elementary School, where we just held the first Tunnel of Hope for this school year in Indian River County. It's a visual representation of the entire community coming together and showing our students that we believe in them. People were holding signs telling the students that they are strong and successful and smart. Lots of high fives and handshakes and telling kids to have a great day, to reach their full potential, and that we are 100% behind them in everything that they choose to do. I can't think of a better way to start the day than to be a part of a Tunnel of Hope.
It was great. What a great way to start the morning. Such an invigorating thing. Start off a Monday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, and there's a bunch of little kids going through there, and it's called Tunnel of Hope for a reason. And the reason is not only hope for the kids, it's hope for the adults as well.
The Tunnel of Hope means to me encouragement. It's so important that we encourage our kids to get off on the right foot for the start of the school year. It's also important that the kids know that they have support.
I felt very good when I was walking under the Tunnel of Hope. I felt successful and happiness. When I walked through the Tunnel of Hope, it made me feel great. It made me feel smart, successful, and good. I am a kid at Hope.
I am talented, smart, and capable of success.
I have dreams for my future, and I will climb to reach those goals and dreams every day.
How could you not smile when you're watching that video? I'll tell you, one of the the pieces of the video walking through the tunnel, having everyone wave. I actually took that on my phone, and I've got to tell you, it was the best feeling ever walking through that tunnel on a Monday, having everyone cheer for you, even though they weren't really cheering for me, it was for the video. But it's a great feeling. So our next video features a great partnership that we have with Indian River Medical Center. It's featuring Project HELP, which is the Hospital Exemplary Learning Program. And like I said, it's a partnership with Indian River Medical Center that provides some of our students a transition program between high school and the professional world. And this allows some of our students to receive job skills and job coaching in different departments within the hospital.
The Hospital Experiential Learning Program has been a vision of the school district over time that has truly come to fruition within this past school year. The partnership between the Indian River Medical Center and the school district has been an amazing experience. Student internships have been carved out within different departments within the hospital, and the relationships and partnerships that have evolved as a result of the mentoring that's occurring is such a positive experience to witness. The school-based programming that is aligned with the work experiences has been an integral part of the success of the program. The employment specialists spend a quality amount of time really honing in on specific skills that are going to be applied within the work setting.
About 6 months ago, we were approached to participate in this program, which was going to be giving students an opportunity to learn business skills by coming to work at the hospital. We all personally believe that in our lives we've had opportunities provided to us by others, and now we have the chance to do the same for these students.
The goal of having employment opportunities after their internship has really yielded such positive results for our students.
I think the HELP program was really great for the kids. I mean, DK, he'd show up every day on time, dressed in uniform, ready to go to work with a smile on his face. I mean, we taught him everything from plumbing to HVAC to electrical. So he's got a well-rounded experience working at the hospital.
Here at the hospital and facilities, I've learned employability skills. I have really enjoyed my experience here. It has opened my eyes to a lot of different things that has been going on in the hospital that if I was not working here, I probably wouldn't have known what all goes on in here, and I've learned a lot of different skills from here.
Dakota has proven to us that he is very able to work with anybody in here. The impact extent of his work that he has done here has not just extended in this department, but even to all the floors.
I have learned important job skills, such as doing inventory, stocking, putting stock on the shelves, as well as putting stuff on parts and bringing it to the nurses' centers.
We are responsible for making sure that every caregiver has what they need to do their job, take care of their patients. All the work that he has done has impacted everybody.
Michael came aboard and he's been very efficient in everything he's doing. I've seen him start very little and then he has progressed so much now. It's incredible. We're dust-free because of Michael. He's helping clean the place up, and we thank that for the HELP program, if anything. Michael has learned to clean stairwells. He has learned to clean the edges, the countertops. He has learned to clean doors. Michael has learned a lot.
Well, I learned you got to clean the floorboards and clean the baseboards and clean the tables and make sure everything is sparkless. And I make sure I do a hard job and focus on it and get better achievement at it.
Anthony's been with us for a bit now, and he's done very well. He started out stripping carts down, coming down from the patient's room, sorting silverware, things of that nature. And as he progressed, we kept adding tasks to him, which he's mastered all of them. From cleaning the tables, sanitizing the legs and the chairs, things of that nature. He also restocks our high traffic areas. as far as silverware, cups, in our beverage area, and he's done very well.
I like working here, and plus there are a lot of cool things you get to do.
We're really thankful for the generous support of the school district and also the support for the leadership team here at Indian River Medical Center.
We look forward to continuing this in the 2018-19 school year, and we are grateful to our partners, our families, and our community.
Okay, so tonight we have a special proclamation. Next month is Attendance Awareness Month, and we have a couple of very special students here tonight who will be reading a proclamation for us. But first, I'd like to introduce Miss Ann Bieber. She's the principal at Storm Grove Middle School.
Thank you. It really is such an honor to introduce these students to you this evening. They are sixth graders who have just joined Storm Grove. I've gotten a chance to know them already, and really they're role models. They have had perfect attendance for 5 years. And we're working on year 6 now. It really takes so much for students to be successful and to have that drive to have perfect attendance. It takes a family, it takes the support, and the recognition that education is important. I've had an opportunity to meet with Mr. Stewart and speak with him a couple of times already this year. And you can see that dedication and passion for his children's education. And I think that that is really a role model as well, to see that passion for their education and know the importance of it, being there every day. Students may get sick, and of course we don't want them coming when they're sick, but being at school every day that you can possibly be there, it's invaluable. Students may be able to make up a missed assignment, but that instruction, that time with a teacher face to face, you just can't get back. So I applaud them, and I'd like to introduce Alicia Stewart and Anthony Stewart.
Superintendent Rendell, thank you for having us here, and board of members. School District of Indian River County, whose vision is to educate and inspire every student to be successful, whose mission is to serve all students with excellence. Proclamation. Designating the month of September 2018 as Attendance Awareness Month. Whereas, chronic absences missing 10% or more of school for any reason, including excused and unexcused absences, or just 2 or 3 days a month, is a proven predictor of academic trouble and dropout rates. And whereas improving attendance and reducing chronic absences take commitment, collaboration, and tailored approaches to particular challenges and strengths in each community. And whereas chronic absences predicts lower third grade reading proficiency, course failure, and eventually dropout. And it weakens our communities and our local economy. And whereas schools and community partners can reach out more frequently to absent students to determine why they are missing school and what will help them attend more regularly. And whereas chronic absences can be significantly reduced when schools, parents, and communities work together to monitor and promote good attendance and address hurdles that keep children from getting to school. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the District School Board of Indian River County, Florida, that the District School Board designates the month of September 2018 as Attendance Awareness Month. The District School Board urges the community to commit to focusing on reducing chronic absenteeism to give all children an equitable opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive academically, emotionally, and socially.
Dear School Board and Superintendent members, our attending school is important because education often determines the professional and career success of people. Education is a sustainer of life and is necessary to survival. We have been able to attend every day for 5 years because God gave us good health, family provided resources, our school has made it fun, and last but not least, our Father made it mandatory, and we are determined to make a difference. We would like to give a special thanks to Miss Basor for being there for us, and Miss Alicia Reyes for inviting us.
And we will be here in 3 years for middle school perfect attendance.
Good evening, Dr. Rendell, board members, and members of the community. In addition to them reading the proclamation for the first time, we are awarding them a certificate of attendance, which reads, in honor of Attendance Awareness Month 2018, the certificate is awarded to Alicia Stewart in recognition for 5 years of perfect attendance in the school district of Indian River County, and it's signed by myself, Dr. Martinez, and Dr. Rendell. And the same one for Anthony Stewart. So please come up and get your certificates.
Board members, we could. So Mrs. Basor, you need to come on up and be in the picture because you were their principal while they were in Church Post Elementary School, which is where they did 5 years of perfect attendance.
Okay, so we'll get a couple different pictures. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Great job. All right, and can we get Dad again too, by the way? I'd like you in the picture as well.
Mr. Stewart.
Ready? 1, 2, and 3. Dad said it was easy to get them to school every day when you have such wonderful kids.
Nice.
So to all the other students out there watching, you know that Anthony and Alicia have set the bar pretty high, but they've shown you that it can be done, perfect attendance every day. I want to thank Mr. Hunt and Heather for all of their dedication to the HELP program. The video about the students in the HELP program is truly inspirational. Thank you all for your hard work on that. Oh, and I'm sorry, Joanne's right here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, that's it.
Thank you. All right, members, that was a proclamation, so we will need a motion and a second to approve it.
Move approval.
Second.
And Mrs. Justice with a motion, Mrs. Zork with a second. Would you like to speak to your motion, ma'am?
No, sir.
Your second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. And now for citizen input. Our first two speakers are Constance Peterson, followed by Kathy Robinson. Ms. Peterson, you are recognized for 3 minutes. Thank you.
Can we speak twice on the action and the, I didn't know, so I
Would
didn't
you
mark
rather
it.
speak at the?
I want to speak
at a-
both times.
To an item, you can speak once.
We're going to speak once?
Yes.
That is the
once.
current school board policy is once.
So during the action item, we couldn't speak again if we wanted to say something during the action item?
No, ma'am, the policy is that you speak once. Would you prefer to speak at the time? of
No,
the
I'm
action?
fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're recognized.
Good afternoon, good evening. Time goes by fast. I just want to speak a little bit about the equity report that's in the back of the agenda for tonight. As I was looking through some of the items on there, back in February or March, I happened to pull a public records request for the number of black teachers and the number of black employees in the district, period. And I noticed that the numbers that are in the equity report do not match the public request report that I received. This is some of the concerns that the public has expressed before, the numbers not matching. I know Liz Cannon talked about it before, the data not matching up. We want to have trust of the community, but yet when we do reports, the numbers don't add up. So I hope someone will look into that and see. I don't know who pulled the report. I know Bruce Green gave it to me. I guess he got it from Mike Smetzer. I'm not sure. But my report says there's only 86 black teachers and 5 black counselors. And I'm not sure who this equity report goes to, but I'm sure if we're going to be turning this in to the judge, we want to have the right numbers. Also, I'm concerned about the part that says enrolled in AP, IB, and dual enrollment. We know that somebody's enrolling these students into these programs, but we would also like to know how are these students doing? Who's completing? What's the successful rate? And that's nowhere in there. It's okay to be enrolled, but we want to make sure that our students are completing successfully. So again, I don't know if who this equity report goes to, but if it goes to the judge, we're going to be writing the judge to request that that information is included. Also, my concerns that I'm hearing from the community is that we're talking about hiring black teachers, but a lot of black teachers who have applied have been turned down. I have not seen a report about how many black teachers, black applicants have applied for jobs and been turned down. I've never seen a report for that. So that's something that we need to look at. People are applying, people are being turned down for jobs. Also, in the new DSEG order, and I know we will talk about that later, but one part says to be interviewed, be required by the principal to interview a diverse pool of applicants. And you already know that happened to me, and I was not in that pool. It's not happening. So I'm very concerned about some things that are in that new DSEG order that's already not happening. I hope that it will happen in the future, but if we're not doing it now, I mean, really, are we going to do it in the future? That's my concern. Also, we talked about following the steps for reporting issues that we have or concerns with hiring. I've gone to the union, I've gone to the HR department, I've expressed my concerns to the superintendent, to the school board, and nothing has happened. So it says the next step is to go to the EEOC and the Office of Civil Rights, and that's what I plan on doing. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out, and thank you for your comments, ma'am. Up next is Kathy Robinson, followed by Mershawn Green. Good evening. You're welcome. You're recognized for 3 minutes.
Trust me, it won't take 3 minutes to say this. I put on there, I'm concerned about recruitment and retention. I'm one of these African-American teachers who's highly qualified, who came out of St. Lucie County District, and I was not reappointed by a first time in that particular school. All the years prior to that, no problem. But this year, when I applied, the principal had already vetted me, did all the research, and checked with all of the references, and there was no problem. The matter of fact, that Tuesday, the principal called and offered me the job. And that Wednesday, I was supposed to go out to the school and go ahead and meet with the head of the department so I could, because school had already started, so I would be able to come in knowing what I'm doing, not just jumping in cold. I got there that Wednesday, and the school was Oslo Middle, and Beth Holfer had offered me the position. That Tuesday night, the school board met, and that's my understanding that Dr. Edwina Suit did not approve my hire. And if you look at my record is clean. I am highly qualified. I have everything that it takes. And I put down the problem that when I spoke, and I asked for a meeting because I think it's only fair that if you're going to say,
I don't get the job, you need to meet with me and tell me why. That's only fair. But you can't even take a meeting with me. I wasn't being hostile, just want to tell me, because if there's a problem, we should be able to figure this out. And it should not keep me after almost 25 years of teaching and never a problem, nothing to this magnitude. I'm out of Indian River County, grew up right there in Guilford. I've taught in St. Lucie County for so many years because Indian River County never would hire me. And it's sad that I had to go to St. Lucie County to get hired on. I came back to Indian River County because I was really peeved about the results of my last hire. Anyway, that's my concern. If we're so concerned about recruiting, no one recruited me. I don't recall seeing anybody having a recruitment where they were focusing on not just African Americans, but anyone of color. Where's it happening? I know years and years ago, why aren't we going to the HBCU universities looking for people? Why aren't we going where these people are, where we are trying to recruit for Indian River County? I don't understand that. To me, it doesn't make sense. If I'm looking for oranges, I'm not going to an apple tree. If I want oranges, I'm going to an orange grove. And if you're looking for recruitment of African Americans, qualified African Americans in these positions, then we should be able to go to those places.
Thank you for coming out. Thank you for your comments. Up next, Rashawn Green. Oh, thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. I see it now. Finally, Dr. Mara Schiff. Would you like to speak now or to the item? Okay, thank you. You are recognized for 3 minutes.
Good evening. I too am going to speak on what is commonly known as the desegregation order. And first I want to say I know these things aren't easy and it takes a lot of work to put them together. That said, I don't support ratification of this agreement. I've read it carefully, and there are a number of things in it that are simply too vague. As someone who does research and measurement of objective indicators for a living, I read in this things that say, first off, there's going to be a progress report once a year. I'm unclear how once a year is sufficient. If things are not going well in the course of a year, to only find out after a year is insufficient in order to determine how we correct what's not working. I don't have 3 minutes, is not nearly enough time to go through my list here. It says in this that the school board shall provide adequate support for the equity committee to execute and discharge its responsibilities and make sure that the equity committee has timely access and adequate support and so forth. But nowhere does it define what is adequate support, what is timely access, what is in a manner and through channels to be determined at the school board's discretion. That's completely vague and leaves nothing that tells us to what standard are we reaching. The school board and the NAACP will convene once a year. Again, I think that's insufficient. It talks about mentoring, and it talks about mentoring of all teachers. I'm not clear how mentoring, while a good thing and noteworthy and important, I'm not sure where mentoring of all teachers is important here when we're looking at specifically is an equity agreement for African American teachers. Much talks about an aspirational goal. It talks about having one African American teacher at every school. So we've got 2 high schools, 4 middle schools, 13 elementary schools, and 5 charters. And that means 24 African American charters, and I'm not even sure, African American teachers, and I'm not sure that charters even count here. Well, according to Ms. Peterson's data presented a minute ago, we've already got 86 teachers, and we're nowhere near the 17% representation in the district. So there's a number of things in this. There are certain things, for example, it says the school board shall ensure that information requested by the Equity Committee for the accomplishment of its responsibility for monitoring the implementation and results effectiveness of the plan is timely made available to the Equity Committee through appropriate channels determined by the school board at its discretion. I don't even know what that means. So I'm concerned in this that the language is vague. There are no clear, specific, and measurable indicators to which we hold ourselves accountable. The time frame within which the Equity Committee meets and brings results to the school board is extremely long. It will meet only quarterly. It will present results annually. And I'm not clear how that's sufficient monitoring of this and holds us to standards that give us specific and measurable indicators for what it is we are actually trying to achieve in this agreement. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Please. Presentations are over. Thank you. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for your comments. And I believe that's it. Anybody else have their forms in? I don't believe so. Okay, great. Having concluded citizen input, it's time for the consent agenda. This time, I'll entertain a motion.
Move approval. Second.
Mrs. Justice with a motion. Mrs. Zork with a second. Would you like to speak to your motion, ma'am?
No, sir.
Your second, ma'am. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. 4-0. Having completed the consent agenda, we are now on the action agenda, where we have placed consent item E. Board Member Searcy, since you pulled this item, would you like to present it?
Yes, sir. I spoken to the risk manager about this, but my big deal is insurance. And if we've got a contract that says that we've got to have 30-day advance notice of cancellation, and our certificate doesn't show it, we're in violation of the contract. And the point of the whole thing is, whoever is reviewing these contracts and these certificates need to make sure that everything in that contract is covered. And in this certificate, it's not. So I think that's something the superintendent needs to take care of. And I've spoken directly to the risk manager, and we're going to try to get that taken care of. But this is what was presented to us. We don't have it proper, and we're expected to make decisions on this. And I would encourage you, Mr. Chairman, to visit with the superintendent and make sure that that's right. And maybe they don't even have a copy of the contract. I'm assuming they do. But, you know, there's going to be some more board members coming on board, and they need to know how to look for these things so that this district is protected. That's the reason I'm raising the issue. We need to know that we are protected. So that's the only thing. I just wanted to make sure that that was brought out tonight, that it's not correct the way it is.
Mrs. Justice, you wish to be recognized?
Thank you very much. I was not aware that Mr. Searcy had in fact had conversations with risk management regarding this specific contract. I don't know if you had any type of communication with them.
I did.
Okay. We did not, other board members did not receive any communication regarding this. Did risk management and the school board attorney, was this certificate of insurance sufficient for this contract?
Dr. Rendell or Ms. DiAgresto, would you like to be recognized to address that?
And I need to defer to the risk manager who's reviewed the insurance information as to whether it complies with the requirements in the contract.
What did you say?
I need to defer to the risk manager who reviewed the certificate of insurance, sir.
I just didn't hear you.
I'm sorry.
Did the risk management, did the risk manager, did they tell you that they felt that it was sufficient, sir?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
But it does not agree with the contract. On page 2, it shows the last line, item number 8, that you have to have a 30-day advance notice of cancellation, and that's the protection that the school district has. And I'm concerned that for the hereafter, I guess, after November, you folks need to know about that and know about the details in these things to make sure that our folks are doing what is proper.
Absolutely. Did the risk manager put that in writing, that they did feel that this was
We did it over the
sufficient?
telephone.
Mr. Chair.
You're recognized, Dr. Rendell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mary DiMercato, our risk manager, is here, so if she could come to the podium and address this particular contract with Redland Christians Ministries Association.
You are recognized, ma'am.
Good evening, Dr. Rendell. Good evening, board. I don't believe, sir, that we discussed the Redlands. We discussed and communicated in regards to the other contract that's on the agenda, which is the Work-Based Learning Experience Grant. That's the one that we communicated on.
We didn't discuss this one?
No, sir.
We didn't discuss the 30-day cancellation clause?
We did in regards to the work-based learning environment one, but we did not discuss it in regards to Redlands.
So you're satisfied that this contract, this certificate that's in this on Redlands is adequate?
Generally speaking, they do not issue a separate endorsement for their 30-day notice. If you would like us to obtain that on each and every one, we'll be glad to do that, but it is not listed as a separate endorsement, sir.
Well, I wonder why the contract calls for it.
I can't speak to the contract, sir.
It's not right. So y'all can do what you want to do.
The
Two of
contract.
5.
Two of
2 of 5. Last line in item number 8. And when I was speaking to you, young lady, I was on the telephone. You had all the stuff in front of you,
Yep.
and I knew we were talking about 30-day and the other contract also.
Yep,
or
and
the
you did
other,
say that, sir, and that's why I followed up our conversation in writing and sent you the email to be sure that I addressed all of your concerns in that regard.
Okay.
But I just want to say, I do appreciate the fact that you do this with such great detail, and, I mean, I think that's what makes the board, a well-functioning board, work, because everyone has different areas and of strength, so I appreciate that. My concern would be if this is adequate or not, and, you know, when people are listening to discussion, if this is adequate and the risk manager feels it's adequate, then I'm comfortable with that. And if it wasn't, then we would need to address it as we did at our last meeting.
If I may, that's part of the conversation that we had in regards to the importance of these documentations and contracts being issued and the COIs being obtained and monitored. You may recall that I've been on your team for about 6 months now. We've developed an insurance requirement guidebook that's before the superintendent for his consideration now, and we'll be bringing that back to you for your consideration in the next 30 days.
Thank you.
Great.
Just a question.
Mrs.
Mr.
Orr.
Searcy, explain to me, so you're not comfortable with approving this tonight the way it is, correct?
No.
And if we were to hold off until the next meeting until we get more information, would that interfere with anything?
I don't know when this thing starts, but it's probably already started, but they've got it in there for the 28th of August today, but.
I would need to defer to the originator. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that question.
Who's the originator?
Right, so that would go to Mrs. Dampier's direction.
Good evening, Board. This specific area that you were asking about, Mr. Sushi, was something that Ms. Mercado and I had spoken about, and she asked me specifically to put that into the contract
Okay.
so that we were able to follow the insurance guidelines that we are now under with our certificate of insurance. So it was added specifically verbatim as requested by risk management. It was not in the original contract. We had to send it back to RCMA. They agreed upon it, gave us the extra parts of the COI that was requested by Ms. Mercado, and then we were able to proceed.
So is the contract not, is this verbiage taken out of the contract? Is that what you're telling me?
It was added to the contract.
Added to the
And
contract,
RCMA agreed to
But
it.
the certificate does not comply with the contract. Is that correct?
As far as I was aware, that's not my expertise.
Okay.
May I,
So
Mr.
it's not-
Frost?
You're recommending.
So I believe the question that Mrs. Zork had posed was very student-focused, if I'm correct, and wanted to know if this would somehow adversely affect our students that we're serving if this was not approved this evening.
No, it could go back. We would then have to request I'm sorry. We could get an additional endorsement, but we've already sent this back twice in request to make sure we were up to speed.
You're recognized.
Thank you. In your professional opinion, is it should we be receiving the additional endorsement? Is that something that you feel is necessary for the safety of the school district?
Again, general standards are, it's inclusive these days on part of the general liability, and we can certainly get an endorsement. It's one of the things that our school district has not done, so generally speaking, our vendors don't supply it automatically. We'd have to go back and ask for it, but it's really easy to do. It's a simple email. They'll be glad to provide it for us.
Approve it subject to.
So approve it, subject to?
Subject to getting a
Got it.
30-day cancellation so that it complies
That's
with
your
the
motion, sir?
contract. Yeah, I'll make a motion on that.
Okay. You're recognized. Well, I guess that's the motion.
Yeah, that's a motion.
Okay.
Subject to getting a 30-day cancellation notice on the certificate, and I guess providing us with a copy of it, maybe.
This is Justice with a second.
Thank you.
Like to speak to your motion?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, on to our action agenda proper. Approval of the renewal of dual enrollment agreement with Indian River State College for 2018-2019 school year. Dr. Rendell, would you please present the item?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We are very fortunate to have a strong partnership with Indian River State College in which our students can take courses at the college while still in high school. Tonight, we are asking that you renew the dual enrollment agreement with IRSC for the 2018-19 school year. Cost to the district is $525,000 because we have a lot of students taking advantage of dual enrollment.
Okay, you've heard the item.
Move for approval.
Mrs. Zork moves approval. Mrs. Justice seconds. Would you like to speak to your motion, ma'am?
No, thank you.
Your second.
Yes, sir. This is a wonderful investment that the school district makes in our students, offering them opportunities to take dual enrollment classes. Many of our students go on to secondary school, to college with 2 years of credits already. And it's something that we're very lucky to have Indian River State College as a very strong partner in this, and I'm happy that the district continues this partnership.
Any further discussion? Mr. Shears?
How often do we have to pay these folks? This is the dual enrollment deal, right?
Right.
We have to pay them a couple
Annually.
times a year, right?
I'm not sure of the billing cycle, but it's based on the semester, each semester, how many students enroll and complete
Okay.
courses and so on. So at least twice a year, I would imagine.
Okay. and
What
we've
the
got
amount
money.
represents for an entire,
Correct, this is for the
Year.
entire year.
got
Mr. Chair,
it. Yes.
if I could point out, we have Casey Lunsford, the
So,
provost of the Vero Beach campus of IRSC here with us tonight.
okay, if we have questions.
I'm good.
Nope, just wanted to recognize him.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you for coming, Mr. Wadsworth. Okay, action item B, approval of work-based learning experience, WBLE, for transition students with disabilities, 2018-2019 school year. Dr. Rendell, would you please present the item?
Thank you, Mr. Frost. This is actually a follow-up to the video that we watched at the beginning of tonight's board meeting. Our job is to prepare all of our students to be successful when they graduate from our schools. Work-based learning provides our students with disabilities with the experience and training in the community to successfully transition to adult life. The budget for this program is $255,153. It's actually a reimbursement program that will end up being no cost to the district. Again, I want to thank Randy and the team for putting this together.
Thank you.
Approval. Second.
Mrs. Justice with the motion, Mrs. Zork with the second. Would you like to speak to your motion, ma'am?
Yes, sir. In advance of these meetings, we receive the agenda on a Tuesday, and then I take some time before the meeting to be able to meet with some of the different people involved to ask any questions that we might have. And I had the opportunity to speak to Mr. Randy Hunt about this program and about what this really means for our students, the impact of this program on our students' lives. And he told me a story that, Dr. Rendell, if we could maybe share about a student that he actually met with and some of the opportunities that are going to be available in the future for our students in the district. Mr.
I
Chairman.
don't think you can mention names, but yes, as long as you stay inside FERPA.
Yeah,
and
if
all those
Mr.
things.
Hunt is willing to share the
Yeah.
story
It was just
without.
such an exciting opportunity for our students about customized opportunities. We used to do something, and Mr. Hunt told me a little bit about some community-based trips with our students, but this is very specific and student-focused, and I just was very impressed with how innovative our district is being as far as our students with exceptional needs.
Sure. Mr. Hunt, you're recognized if you'd like to come up and say a few words. Or answer
Good
questions.
evening, Dr. Rendell, board members, and members of the community. I was sharing with Ms. Justice a scenario today at 9 o'clock when I met with an 11th grader who about a year ago I met with after doing some work with her to determine what her strengths, preferences, and interests are. And I said, my challenge to you between now and August is to do some research. Take some interest inventories and really find that area that excites you and that you're passionate about. We scheduled a follow-up back in May to occur this morning. So I met with her mother, and a member of the family. She presented to me 3 different areas that she has discovered that she wants to plug into. As an 11th grader, She's now interested in astronomy, directing, and she also has a huge strength, I think, in the area of making sure that she's reaching out to little ones. So currently, she's plugged into a work-based learning experience that's tied to working with youth. And I said to her, one of the things that's important that you remember is that stay active as a client of vocational rehabilitation, because they will follow you not only through high school but into adulthood. Their outcome is based on gainful employment, so they will help develop an individualized plan for employment to make sure that you're tied to some passionate area that you have discovered along the way. So as an 11th grader, if I had had that experience when I were in high school, to be able to plug into an area of passion, that may have changed the trajectory of my career. I was fortunate enough to plug into my passion, which is education, early on. But I think there are youth in our community, without plugging into their interest, their strength and preference, are going to be wondering to find out that. So part of the work-based learning experience program is to plug into that strength, interest, preference that you have as early as age 15. We begin working with students at the middle school level. We work through high school, and then vocational rehabilitation will follow the young person through adulthood. So it's a partnership between the Department of Education, vocational rehabilitation, which is a division of the Florida Department of Education, and the school district. So it's a win-win for our students.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Mr. Chair. Yes. Dr. Rendell, you're recognized.
I believe this was the contract that the risk manager was referring to earlier that has an updated certificate of insurance. So I'd like to pass that down to each of you so that you can see that. And so that we'd ask for your approval of this with the updated COI.
Mr. Chair, would I have to withdraw my motion and?
You don't have to, does he? Because the item is the item. I mean, we can, do you want us to?
If the main motion could be amended to include the updated documentation that was passed out during the board meeting, just so that our record is clear that we are substituting in a couple of pages, please. Thank you.
Thank you. So you amend.
Withdraw her second, I'll withdraw.
You don't have to withdraw, you can just amend.
I'd like to amend my motion to include the updated certificate of insurance provided.
Second. Okay, great. All those in favor, signify, any further discussion? Oh, there's more discussion.
I had a question.
Mr. Sears.
A couple of things on this business. I noticed in the budget that we've got presented there, the list of items that we're spending $160,000 of the grant on shuttle bus. Where do we take these people?
Heather, do you want to answer or?
To work.
Well, I know, but $160,000 is, that's a lot of money to haul them to the hospital.
And again, this is a draft budget. What we are looking at with the work-based learning experiences is transportation. So the students have to be transported to the job locations. Currently, we are utilizing some of the transportation in our fleet. As you know, our ESE transportation fleet is not accommodating of all students with disabilities. So we need to ensure that we are compliant with ADA requirements and to ensure the safety and security of students. So that is what we are proposing for a shuttle bus for North County and for South County. We do have students that are also accessing the GO line. I know Mrs. Pagano has been teaching the students how, and that is a skill that they need to have. So we're accessing those resources as well.
Okay. Mrs. Justice.
Thank you. So the hospital was an initial partnership, and it's my understanding that there are some other MOUs out and that we're working with different community partners for additional opportunities. Could you talk a little bit about, could you tell me what those are again, remind me?
Absolutely. We are currently working with Vero Beach Museum of Art Piper is another organization that we're working with to get an MOU in place. I'm going to have Mrs. Pagano, if you do not mind. She has been in conversation today with another company, and I'd like to have her speak to that as well. We are in the community reaching out to all of our business partners to enter into agreements to provide those opportunities for our students across the district.
I have one more question, follow-up. Thank you. And is this a self-funding program so that it's not $160,000 coming out of our general fund, but yet funding that we'll be capturing in order to fund this?
Correct. So it's a reimbursement, and it's based on the students' experiences. So quarterly, they will have work-based learning experiences, and quarterly we will be reimbursed. There is no required match by the district, so there is no cost to the district.
Thank you.
Great. Mr. Searcy.
I have
you a
one question
for-
before you leave.
Heather?
I noticed in here that, in the contract, it requires that we put up a performance bond or security deposit in the full amount of the contract. Have we done that, or are we going to do that?
So that is something that
$255,000?
that is something that we are working with finance on as part of the contractual agreement.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. We are very fortunate to be able to have this grant available for the students and the community of Indian River County. This year, we're going to have, this grant affords us a marvelous opportunity for these students to learn about job skills. In Sebastian, the students from Sebastian River High School, that's not to say that they can't come to some of the jobs that are available for Vero Beach High School. We serve all three high schools. We serve Charter, Indian River, Vero Beach High School, and Sebastian. In Sebastian, we're working with Mr. Oil. We have students who go there and learn how to do oil changes on cars. We have Pelican Landing, nursing home, nursing facility, where they go and they work in the dining room, and they work in the hair salon, and they do nails, and they do whatever's needed there. And they do a marvelous job there. They work in Publix in Sebastian. Here in Vero Beach, the students have assignments at Habitat for Humanity. It's just an awesome site for them. And Habitat works with us and has worked with us now for 3 years. The Vero Beach Museum of Art, I can't say enough good things about. What the students learn at that art center is unbelievable. They are so excited to go there. It's just a position that they all want to go to and seek working at the museum. And they help the docents, and they help the friends of the museum. We also are, this year, we're working with the city of Vero Beach, and we're hoping that within the next week, we will be able to have an understanding between the city of Vero Beach and our grant and the school district to work at the airport. All right, and the students are going to be greeters for the airlines that are coming in and helping with, they have noticed that there's a lot of elderly people who need assistance with luggage, and that's what they're going to be doing, plus tidying up around the airport. We have Publix here. We're working with Einstein Bagel for our students to work there. We're looking at Quail Valley. That's another opportunity that's in the development at this point. So as the list could go on and on and on, we feel it's important for students to learn as many job skills as they can while they're in high school and while they're in transition. We're looking at possibly even setting up a workshop for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And just one more comment, if I may. I also wanted to just bring to your attention that we currently have a waiting list. So there is a real need for our students. And as the program grows, we hope to add additional staff, again, to support their needs in the workforce. So we thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Further questions?
Just have one more question.
Certainly.
The question about the bond, is that something the superintendent will follow up on, or
Yes,
I know
sir.
our finance guy's not here, but,
And with
yes.
Mr. Chair, may I speak to the surety bond?
Yes, you're
Thank you.
recognized.
Thank you. And Mr. Searcy, I had the same question initially with this contract that you had with regard to a surety bond. The state contract is a little convoluted, so I'm going to take you to another page in the contract that takes it back out. With a state contract, you have to look in 3 and 4 different places to be sure that you, yes, sir. So bear with me.
Tell me.
If you go to, now I'm looking at the agenda page number, so it's page 15 of 26.
Okay.
In the middle of that page, subparagraph small d as in dog,
Yep.
talks about section XV and then three I's. Is not applicable to the contract. And so when you flip back to the page, yes, I do the same thing. I have to circle it and tag it and then flip additional pages. If you flip back to the page, sir, that you were referring to, page 22 of 26, XV and then III is the paragraph that requires the surety bond be posted. So while Exhibit C says you're supposed to have one, the contract says that provision is not applicable to this contract with the school board. So you identified, I think, an issue with a state contract when they're dealing with a private provider. They require a lot of things that are not required for a local government provider. I would love for the state to have a contract for local governments and a separate one for private providers. But we are just in a situation, I'm afraid, where the state is using one contract and then plugging language in other areas that then deletes requirements. It took me a little bit to figure that one out.
And you're an attorney.
This contract was a little difficult to follow, I'm afraid, but I did want to bring that to your attention so that you would know that the surety bond is not required for this particular contract with a local government.
Well, I believe the risk manager did mention that to me, by the way, so she's doing a pretty good job of trying to educate me, but it doesn't make sense for it to be like that. And
Yes, sir, I will agree with you, but that's the state contract that we are dealing with at the
so
moment.
we don't have to put up a bond.
No, sir, no surety bond.
State giveth and the state taketh away. Okay. Motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by
Aye.
saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 4-0. Action item C, approval of interlocal agreement between the Indian River County Board of County Commissioners and the School District of Indian River County. Dr. Rendell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Action item C is an interlocal agreement with the county that will allow both government entities to work in conjunction and share facilities, especially in times of emergencies such as during a hurricane. So we seek approval of this point, of this interlocal agreement.
Heard the item. Entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Mrs. Justice moves approval. I'll second. Would you like to speak to him?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, prior to this, we've been operating in some type of a handshake agreement as to how this was going on, and I applaud Mr. Teskey and his team. I know he's been working with many different people to make this happen. One of the things that I also want to say that I was expressed as a concern after the last hurricane last year that has been made a part of this is the fact that our health assistants, while will still be on site, there will be EMT presence. So fire or EMT or a lifeguard, 2 people at every location, because I did think it was a real liability for the district and also too much to ask of our employees. If a real health concern came up, a heart attack or different things that could happen at the shelter. So I was just really happy to see that we had taken care of our employees in that way and our community members in that way. I still try to wrap my head around the fact that the school district are the ones that run the shelters. So our principal is doing data chats and it's the instructional leader one day, and then a hurricane comes and they're running an entire shelter for community members. It's a lot. But I'm really happy to have this agreement, and I thank the county commissioners and everyone for coming together to make this happen.
Okay. I don't have any comments to the second.
I have a
Mr. Searcy.
question. I noticed that we've got 15 schools that are shelters. There's no way we can combine that and have 10 or something less than 15 schools?
I'll turn that over to Mr. Teskey to respond to that.
Yes, sir, Mr. Searcy, that's an excellent question. The shelters are broken into waves 1, 2, and 3. Some shelters are designated as life sustainment shelters after an event. Some shelters are designated for non-hurricane related events. Schools are chosen based upon capacity, size, compliance, year when they were made. So the ones that have been designated are serving a specific purpose within the interlocal agreement. We work with the county to designate Wave 1 shelters and await the time if 2 or 3 need to open, so they all don't open initially.
Mr. Phillip.
But you
Serious
have
question.
to have them staffed and the staff ready in case you need 1, 2, and 3.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
So last Thursday at the principals meeting, we gave the principals their hurricane overview training, and we have asked the principals to assemble their school-based shelter teams, kind of their mobilization teams, and whether they are alerted during wave 1, 2, or 3, they are responsible for identifying school-based employees that can respond at any time during any wave 1, 2, or 3 alert.
And those are all volunteers that, they probably get paid, but they all volunteer for it, as the principals say, you, and you, or,
They get voluntold.
yeah, what do you?
Yes, sir.
Voluntold in the Marine
Voluntold,
Corps.
yeah, okay.
The superintendent will issue who is essential and non-essential at that time, working with the county. And at that point, certain employees can volunteer for their specific jobs.
They can volunteer.
Yes, they're
We don't
not
appoint anybody.
mandated. No, sir. We work with the employees who are available and who volunteers first.
You have questions, Mrs. Orton?
I do. I guess it's a question for the attorney. How do I just abstain from this? Because I feel like with the Board of County Commissioners, I wouldn't want to,
Can't hear you.
You feel as though you may have a voting conflict? Mrs. DeGrasse
because
can
I
walk you
don't
through
know
that.
if I might have a voting conflict here.
Okay, under Florida law with regard to a voting conflict under the Code of Ethics, the language talks about if an individual school board member believes that an item would inure to their personal private gain, or the personal private gain, I'm assuming in your case, to a family member, your spouse, then you are required to abstain from voting if you meet that threshold. Okay, that's under the Code of Ethics. If it inures to your personal private gain, or the personal private gain of a close family member, which would be a spouse.
There's no personal
Under the Sunshine Law provision, there is a separate voting conflict, and that language speaks about if you either have or you perceive that you may have a conflict of interest voting on a measure, then you also may abstain from the vote. If you determine, this is an individual decision, Mrs. Zork, I nor anyone else can make it for you. It's an individual decision, but if you make that decision, the process is to then declare that voting conflict and to advise the board that you'll be abstaining from the vote. There is a form that is filled out, and the form is attached to the minutes of the meeting, and you also maintain a copy for yourself so that there's a record of any voting conflicts that you have declared.
And I think she has 14 days to do that, correct, in statute? If I'm remembering my training that I take every year.
It's either 10 or 14. I'm going to go with your
Okay.
14. I
Okay.
was thinking 10, but.
I don't think I have anything personal to gain, but the only area that I am concerned about is the sunshine of discussion. So I just would rather be safe than sorry so I'm just gonna abstain from the vote. Under the sunshine, is that right?
And may I?
Oh, you're recognized, of course.
I believe what I'm hearing you say is that due to your spouse's position as an elected county commissioner and your position as an elected school board member, you believe that it may be perceived as a conflict of interest for you to vote on something that also went to the county commission for a vote as well. And that is, I will defer to your judgment on that, but I do encourage you to fill out the form
Okay.
to be attached to the minutes.
I'm just gonna be safe.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
3-0.
Motion carries unanimously 3-0 with Mrs. Zirk abstaining. Action item D, Delta. Approval of agreement B21864 for security officer services with Veteran Security Corps of America. Dr. Rendell, would you please present the item?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a contract with a local security firm to provide monitoring and coverage at one of our schools during non-student hours. The total cost for the annual contract is $62,780.40.
Okay, you've heard the item. I'll entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
Mrs. Justin moves approval. Mrs. Zork seconds. Would you like to speak to your motion, ma'am?
Just that this is something that we've seen before, and not to get into specifics because it is a security issue, but there are at times, and there is a need for the school district to ensure the security of our campus after hours or on weekends and such, so.
Okay. Your second? Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 4-0. Action item E, approval to issue purchase orders, spend authority to various vendors for recurring expenses. Dr. Rendell, would you please present the item?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There are a number of vendors who we contract with on a regular basis, some of whose services may be needed in a timely fashion. We are asking the board to approve the spending authority for these vendors in an amount up to but not exceeding the total listed for each vendor on the list. Again, we're seeking approval for this spending authority. That does not mean that you're approving any actual spend tonight, just the authority to spend, up to the limit that is listed there.
Heard the item?
Move approval.
Mrs. Justice moves approval. I'll second, or Mrs. Zork seconded, before I got it in. Okay. Would you like to speak to your motion, ma'am?
Yes, sir. In reviewing this, there are some areas where I know that there are, when I'm looking at what the authority, this purchase authority that's requested, I know why the increase has gone over what we spent before, and then there are some areas where I don't know that there are specific initiatives tied to them. So going forward, I'm watching those increases and seeing that, again, this is not money we're spending, but this is a authority to spend. But I'd like to make sure that whatever we're requesting is, somewhat tied to history in some of these areas. I'll approve it tonight, but it's just something that I've asked about.
Okay. Mrs. Zork, would you like to speak to your second, ma'am?
Yes.
You're recognized. Or question or series of questions.
Thank you. When I met with Dr. Rendell yesterday, I did not catch this, so I don't mean to be putting you on the spot, but I'm looking at purchase of testing and instructional. And when I look at the list, what on the list is testing and instructional?
So I'll ask Mr. Carver to come on up to the microphone, to the podium. He is kind of the originator of the list and the different bid, or not bid, but spending authority.
Mr. Carver, you're recognized, sir.
And you're looking at UDT, I guess, is the VO 87664 UDT contract. Mrs. Zork.
Which one is it?
Second from the
UDT?
bottom, second row from the bottom.
Okay.
You're recognized, Mr. Carver.
Thank you. So, the question again?
It's about the spending authority more than 50,000 for the testing and instructional. So I guess it's the United Data Technologies. What is that?
I want to make sure that I have the, so UDT, United Data Technologies, that is our source for computer hardware. If there's another one that's for testing, I'm not sure where I see testing.
Okay, so the narrative perhaps was repurposed and maybe overly inclusive?
No, this, okay, so in the narrative, there's a kind of a broad description of the types of supplies.
Right.
So testing and instructional supplies kind of go together in that kind of broad description. So we purchase testing supplies from, I want to say there's one of the recurring vendors. I'm sorry for having my list all messed up here.
It's actually the second one on the list, it's AP.
Advanced placement.
Advanced
AP.
Yeah, advanced placement. So that's where that, if you want to draw a line from the language in the narrative to a vendor, that would be the vendor related to that
Okay,
And they're
commodity.
definitely copyrighted.
right.
Yes, and we have a healthy AP program.
So that is for instructional. So the United Data Technologies, that's for the testing?
No, I wasn't sure which
Oh,
item you were
okay.
referring to. I
Okay,
just
sorry.
thought that might be the
Okay.
one, but that's not it.
So the one that's related to testing would be the second one on the list,
The
advanced
AP.
placement.
Okay, all right, thank you, I appreciate that.
Any other questions, Mrs. Dorr? Mr. Searcy, you're recognized, sir, for question or series of questions.
Let me understand this now. Right now, the superintendent has $50,000 approval. You can approve anything up to $50,000 without coming to the board. And we're gonna go from $50,000 to $27,699,275 that you have the authority to spend without coming to the board? Is that what I'm seeing?
That is not correct. Mr. Carver, can you explain how that works?
So the school board policy 6320, it caps the superintendent's single purchase authority at $50,000 per single purchase. So for items that we purchase and we solicit our own bids for and we put our own bid control number on, we bring those to the board so you can take action. Those are some of the construction contracts, some of the term contracts. So once you take action, then the superintendent can issue purchase orders on your behalf. Well, there's a whole list of other vendors where that are either bid exempt or we piggyback other government agencies. Well, we don't always bring those individual piggybacks to the board for approval because it might only be one or two times that we use them. So since my employment, and I think this was something that they started before then because it was in place already, this was a way to bring it all to the board at one time. And what it does, it enables the superintendent and staff to issue purchase orders perpetually that may exceed $50,000 because if you notice in the narrative, we're going to, on a quarterly basis, provide you with a report of all the purchase orders that were over $50,000 that we received, so you can see that we're tracking the spend.
That's history.
Correct.
If, for example, can I address the
Yeah,
gentleman?
series of questions, sir. You are recognized for
If,
follow-up.
for example, on Indian River State College, we got $525,000 that we're giving superintendent the authority to approve. Well, you're doing it because we may not be able to pay them quite on time or something? Is that, I mean, why are we doing that?
There's 2 points with regard to that one that I can answer, but what would happen is we have a purchase order in place that exceeds $50,000 that the board approved, and then they have 20 more students enroll, and we're technically, by policy, because the superintendent's spending authority is only $50,000, we'd have to delay a change order to that purchase order, and we wouldn't be able to allow for those students to start those programs. So this is just a way to be in compliance with the policy. But now with regard to Indian River State College, because I saw another agenda item tonight that was for that agreement, it really doesn't need to be on this list because it's exactly the same as the authority that you already took action on earlier.
But it is on the list.
Yes,
And we
sir.
know that we pay them twice a year, in October and February, half of whatever the count is. So I don't understand why any of these items are on here. Utilities, City of Vero Beach, any of these things. You know, we have 2 meetings a month. And if you get a bill from Florida Power, we've got 30 days to pay it. And I just have a hard time. That $50,000 limit was put in there for a reason. It wasn't on my watch, but it's in there for a reason. And I happen to think that this is not a good plan just to give open authority to the superintendent. We're here for oversight, and we need to have oversight when you're talking about $27 million. That's my opinion, Mr. Chairman. I won't support this for that very reason. Any of those items that you've got listed in there, the folks are going to give us a bill, and we're going to have 30 to 45 days to pay it. And if we can't get that purchase order and all that business back to the board for approval, there's something wrong with us, but, and I know there's nothing wrong with us, but.
If I may, if I could provide maybe an example of one of the reasons why it's very important to staff to have the increased spend authority. For example, the very first vendor on the list, First Fire and Security, we could have a situation we have before where a security system fails and it needs to be replaced, and the cost of it is more than $50,000, and the next board meeting may not be for 2 weeks. The agenda deadline may have come and gone already for that meeting. So we have to have the ability to address those needs on a perpetual basis without delay because they're related to safety and security. So that's just one example of why the vendors that you see on there, they're required in order for us to conduct routine business. And sometimes those purchase orders are going to exceed $50,000.
So, to ask a question, all of these items are in the budget, correct? These are items that appear in our annual budget.
That's correct.
So as we approve the budget, we're essentially approving the spend, the plan anyway, not the authority.
We're not approving the authority.
Correct. Correct. I have one question, perhaps you can answer. I know it's not really your area, but how are our food costs going down? My personal, I mean, you know, food costs are rising, so I'm curious how the district's food costs are going down.
Well, the U.S. Foods spend request is $250,000 more than it was last year. What's the vendor?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I got the rows backwards. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Good, good. Any other specific items or questions that you might have, Mr. Searcy?
What about this $7 million to Regions Bank? What's the importance of being able to have a $7 million spending authority on that item? I mean, that's credit cards, right?
Correct. In the system, the way that the finance department expends and pays bills in accounts payable, Regions is set up as a vendor. Now, we use the P card to buy things, and we use the P card to buy things from some of these vendors. But at the end of the month, we get a statement from Regions, and we have to expend money to Regions, so that's why they're on that list.
Do you have to have a purchase order to pay the Regions whatever their invoice is? I mean, I don't quite understand that, so.
No, they do an electronic process.
So it doesn't really need to be
Wire
on this
transfer.
list?
It does not.
But we get the statements.
Telephone, Sean.
Somebody calling us.
Mrs. Simchek's joining us.
Is she really?
No, it's Michelle Bro, whoever that is. Sorry.
I just don't understand why a lot of these items are on here whenever you really don't need to have an authority in excess of $50,000. So, and again, for that reason, I'm not going to support it. No offense to the superintendent. That's not the point here. But that's our job. That's our job. Okay.
You're recognized.
Just, that's customer service when we can answer the phone during a meeting here.
Hello?
I do see the point of security. But to Mr. Searcy's point, there's a reason that we are here, and it's a reason we do meet twice a month now. The only one on here that I see that I would approve would be the first one for security. And all else, I feel more comfortable having that brought back to the board, because if it's something that is an emergency item, I'm available to come back.
Special meeting.
But I think it's not smart practice to be given approval for this. That's just my opinion.
Okay. So are you withdrawing your second?
Well, we had to discuss it.
Okay, go ahead.
I would be willing to withdraw my motion and table this item for discussion with a full board and perhaps some more information.
Okay. the motion be postponed.
That the motion be postponed.
Okay.
If I may,
Postponed.
just
What are the
so,
impacts?
just so you know, we have pending requisitions to like US Foods for cafeteria food, and it's on there. The Robert Erneston produce is on there. The ones for fuel for the buses. We have pending requisitions that are pending this approval tonight.
Martin Fence as well, some of the fencing is part of the single point of entry, that projects that we've slated to be done.
Mr. Frost, may I say something?
Sure.
We had a
Mrs.
discussion
Justice.
today at our workshop about the way that we've done things and the way that the finance department has done some things in the past, and perhaps we haven't been as comfortable as we would like with some of the systems that have been put into place. I think this is one of those things, that this is the way it has been done until now, and upon review of some of the different systems that have been in place, there are some corrections that I know that Dr. Rendell and staff are looking to make. So I think this is part of a continued conversation. I certainly wouldn't want to delay the safety and security upgrades at our schools. That would be a real concern, and some of the other areas. So
So should we identify those key areas, or?
perhaps if Mr. Carver could take a step back and if we review this list and let us know what needs to be approved that would affect the business of the district right now, and that would affect our students, and we could table it for until the end of the meeting. We could bring this motion back.
Technically tabling now, good. Okay, so
That's a
an improved
suggestion.
recommendation for mission-critical items that will affect
Can I say?
food, heat, fuel, that sort of things. Mrs. Ork?
I don't know how we would be able to do that without actually having an invoice or a purchase order or any backup to go with it. So I don't know what we would be, yeah, I think it's a good idea, but I just don't know what we would be approving. Are we approving the line items here? That amount?
This agenda item is not to approve a specific requisition. It's to approve an exception to the school board policy
Right.
that restricts the superintendent's authority to $50,000 just for these vendors.
We don't have a motion or anything on the floor now, do we?
Yes, we have a motion and a second.
I thought they withdrew that.
I'd like to withdraw my second.
The table or something, or was that-
There's, okay, Mrs. Ork wishes to withdraw her second.
Can I speak to that?
Sure, you're recognized.
I just, we're 2 weeks away from another meeting. I'd rather get it right. So I'd prefer backup. I'm just not going to vote blindly on this, so that's the reason I'm withdrawing.
Okay. So,
Mr. Frost, may I ask the board attorney a question?
yes, you may.
Mr. Agresta, what are our options right now as far as approving spending authority for a period of time in order so that operations don't cease to exist? And that we could, the superintendent and staff could review this list and then bring back an amended list of vendor of approvals? Is that,
I have a more specific question, if I may.
I'm sorry, yeah,
I
please.
think to your point. Is it possible to approve a 1/12 amount of this so that we get 1 month to clarify and bring this back? Would that be a reasonable motion? And would it keep us from bringing the entire district to a grinding halt? Mrs. DiAgresta, is the 1/12, or if you have an amplification to Mrs. Justice's question?
Without speaking to the exact dollar amount, the school board may make such a motion in order to provide some sort of spending authority. I will need to defer to administration with regard to the dollar amount. Like food items, we don't necessarily buy in 1/12 increments. They come in larger amounts, so I can't speak to the amount of the spend, but yes, the school board can certainly pass an alternate motion that allows some level of spending for the next period of time, to the next board meeting.
Okay. So I guess what we'll do is we'll table this, and Mr. Carver, if you can get back to us with a recommendation.
I have not withdrawn my motion.
Oh, you're right, you have not.
Can you help me with some language that you feel would be appropriate for a approval of this that could be then at our next meeting, we could have an action item agenda where this would be brought back with a critical needs list? So this would be, we would give spending authority for the period of the 2 weeks until our next meeting, at which point we would have an amended list.
Without being able to speak to dollar amounts, because I don't know the amount that you order from, for instance, the US Foods. I don't know how much that
And I'm not speaking
is for
about specific
school.
dollar amounts. I'd be asking just a temporary approval, a period of 2 weeks until, so that an action item would be put on the next agenda where there would be, we would then remove the approval. We would say, okay, we have a temporary approval for 2 weeks until a critical needs list is brought back to us, at which point we'll have backup documentation. We'll be able to make a decision then.
Then the motion would be very similar to what you've just stated, that the board is authorizing the superintendent to expend some amount of money until the next school board meeting to the vendors identified on this list. And that at the next school board meeting, the superintendent would bring back a detailed list of vendors and explanations for the spend authority for the board to further consider future spending authority.
So moved.
So moved. I don't know that I can. I don't know that I can recite that back by memory right now. I'd like to withdraw my motion and make a motion that we authorize the superintendent spending authority for a period of the next 2 weeks, with the understanding that at our next board meeting, a revised and vendor list will be brought back to us with documentation regarding critical needs for spending authority going forward after that point.
You got that, Mrs. Boyson? Okay, second. All right, now we have a motion and a second. Let's get
Who
into a
seconded that?
discussion of this. I did.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Okay. Discussion?
With that, can we get a list of how much is going to be spent in the next 2 weeks by the time we come back?
So like, for example, the US Foods, we do a blanket purchase order for each school. And that amount varies depending on how many students they have. Those purchase orders, when you put them all together, they're going to exceed $50,000. We've had to reduce them since the beginning of the year because this action was pending. So, I mean, we don't have invoices yet. We can't have invoices for purchase orders we haven't issued. So we wouldn't be able to bring that back. The only thing that we could bring back would be a list of the requisitions that are pending that exceed $50,000, with a description of, you know, what is on those requisitions, and then you could take action on those, and then we could release them. That would be an option. A place where I was previously employed, that's how it was done. Requisitions were brought to the board for approval. Unless the board had taken some action on a contract previously, then we were allowed to release them without delay. But every single board meeting, there was a list of requisitions for approval.
Would that have to be something that you add into your motion? Or is that just, could that just be an understood?
I think that can just be understood as to how we move forward. They have direction now on what we're expecting, what the board expects.
Mr. Chair.
You're recognized, Dr. Rendell.
Mr. Carver, we have Florida Power and Light on this list, and the City of Vero Beach Utilities on this list. So how are we going to pay the light bill?
You're recognized.
I'm not sure, I don't know how we're paying it. You know, we don't issue a PO for that. I think it's a direct payment that they do
Right.
in finance.
Right. And so we have to be able to pay the bill for the next 2 weeks.
Right.
With my amended motion, we would be able to do that,
I
correct?
hope so.
Okay. There's accountability and transparency, and then there's micromanagement.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, that we've operated with these recurring vendors for the past year. I am not concerned about many of these different areas, and as I've expressed, there was some other areas that I have expressed concern about just whether or not the addition of the budgeted expenditure is necessary. But like specifically with the fencing, that's something that certainly is in the capital plan, and that is something that we're moving forward with. So with the amendment, I just think this is, we have business to do. We need to keep the school district moving forward. I think we continue operating in the next 2 weeks, and then this list can be brought back with things like power and food and those types of things that definitely need to be on here, and other things like the regions that don't need to be on here need to be removed.
That works. Mr. Searcy, you're recognized.
Well, you do have, and I don't know what the limit is on the P cards, but can you use the P cards to pay the city of Vero Beach and U.S. Foods and all these other things for a month?
The U.S. Foods doesn't accept the P card. We use a purchase order for that. The utilities, I think it's a direct payment process that they use. I don't think they use the P card for that. That would be a question for finance.
We haven't used it, but would they accept a credit card?
I don't know the answer to that, sir.
I don't know how fiscally conservative it is to put the electric and food on the credit card when we have cash on hand.
When we don't have the authority to approve the thing, it becomes real important, I would think. But anyway, that's.
So my motion as it stands is to approve this list as it is. Nothing changes for the next 2 weeks with the understanding that another list will be brought back to us with critical needs at the next board meeting.
And you have a second. I have seconded that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Mrs. Ork, did you vote in favor or opposed?
3-1.
Motion carries 3-1. Motel 6, we'll keep the lights on. All right. Action item F, approval of annual equity report for 2017-2018. Dr. Rendell, would you please present the item?
Do you have a good speaker for this item, or is that?
That's a T, golf. Yes, sir.
The DOE compiles a report tracking our statistics in various categories in terms of equity and access. The areas include everything from employment to student access to curricular programs and co-curricular programs. The template for the report is generated by the state. We do not determine what is in the report or the various categories of the report. We just fill in the information. There are some areas of the report that I would like to highlight. As was mentioned earlier, one of the areas that the report tracks is the percent of enrollment in advanced courses by various ethnic subgroups. And so for AP and IB, for advanced placement and IB courses, it's page 12 of the report. Since 2013-14 to 2017-18, the number of African Americans taking AP and IB courses has increased from 6% to 21%. The number of Hispanics has increased from 15% to 24%. It should be noted that that's a stark increase as compared to other subgroups during that same period of time. Another area is all advanced courses, so it's AP, IB, dual enrollment, and honors courses. Number of African American students, or the percent of African American students participating in advanced courses overall increased from 32% in 14-15 to 49% in 17-18. For Hispanic students, the increase was from 45% in 14-15 to 58% in 17-18. One of the other areas that the report tracks is percent of different ethnic groups in your workforce. And for district level administrators, 23% are African American, principals, 27% African American, assistant principals, 28%. For teachers, it's only 8%, and we have basically a 17% student population. So that is the one area where we do fall short, and we have noted that. And we do go recruit at the historically black colleges and universities, and we do take other measures to try to increase that number. So we're asking for the board to approve the equity report. It is just a tracking mechanism for the Department of Education.
You've heard the item explained. At this time, we'll entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Mrs. Justice moves approval.
Second.
Mrs. Zork seconds. Would you like to speak to your motion, ma'am?
Yes, sir. This report is a report that we plug our information, but it is a state report. And so when reviewing it, it says white males, black males, and so as a woman, I say, well, what about the females? So I'd like to say to the state, you know, I'd like to have the females tracked in the equity report. I think that girls are just as important as boys in our schools. So if it's truly an equity report, we would have that information. I am hopeful to see that we continue to have, to work to have a diverse enrollment in our advanced placement and honors and dual enrollment courses. That's something we need to continue to work through, and I'm proud that equity was a major part of our strategic plan and was woven throughout the document. As far as the success of students in classrooms in taking these courses, just them taking them isn't enough. They need to be successful. And so I have spoken with curriculum and instruction about the different supports that we're putting into place to ensure the success of these students. And perhaps at a future workshop, we could talk about that more, about the steps that we're taking to ensure that our students have the support that they need to be successful.
Would you like to speak to your second, ma'am? No further discussion. Ms. Susi, you're recognized.
I think the gentlelady that spoke up here earlier raised a good question. How do we monitor success of these students? The numbers are fantastic. They look good, but how do we monitor the success of those students?
Dr. Rendell, would you like to?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That is actually in the strategic plan. It is one of the goals of the strategic plan, is to measure the success in advanced courses of the different ethnic subgroups. I believe it's goal 1.3 or 2.3. And so it's in the accountability monitoring framework. It was in the presentation that we made covering the end of the year data.
But I guess the rest of my question would be, this is a report we send to the state. They don't ask for the success. They just ask for the numbers.
That's correct.
Would there be any benefit to those fine folks in Tallahassee to see our success ratios? I mean, can we add another column to this? And
I don't believe we can add anything to the report framework, the template. We could add an addendum, and I'd be glad to share our results.
I would think that would speak volumes of our district if we did that. If the success is what we think that it is, and I think that probably it is good. So just a thought. Because I think the lady made a very good point early on. And we need to know, that's the accountability thing, that sometimes we look at the raw numbers and they look really good, but how did Johnny really do?
Correct.
How many did he pass or whatever? Okay.
Well, and that was consistently, as we hired that consultant to help us increase enrollment, one of the things that I said is I want to make sure they're also getting the supports and things like that. So I agree with the speaker. You know, getting a student to the door isn't the same as getting them through the door. And I agree with both my fellow board members who've spoke on this issue, that more can and should be done in that respect. So I look forward to seeing that in the out years, or was it Mr. Searcy said in the hereafter. I'll also say that this report highlights a good problem the district has, and that's we recognize and promote talent. And we're heavy in the assistant principal, the principal, and district administrative staff, well above the 17%. So when we find someone who's qualified in the teaching ranks, they tend to get promoted. So it's a good problem to have, but certainly the efforts are necessary that are in place to make sure that we backfill those positions and continue to recruit African-American teachers into the classroom. So with that, this report has my support. Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Is anybody speaking on this issue? And
No, sir, just on the next one.
okay.
Yep. Okay, we have a motion. Mrs. Justice?
No, that's
Back around the table?
No, sir.
Okay. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Now we are on to action item G. At this time, recognize Mershawn Green to speak for 3 minutes on the item.
I'm here to speak about the joint agreement. I'm amazed that we spent over $1 million of taxpayers' money on litigation for what? An illusory promise? I don't know who drafted the agreement, but it's basically a money pit that will cost taxpayers even more dollars if validity is contested. This document could easily be thrown out in court because it is extremely one-sided. The NAACP gives up all authority on behalf of Black students, staff, and administration, yet the board and the district has agreed to do absolutely nothing. It gives the illusion of a contract, but the school board and district aren't bound by anything. There are no specific and measurable goals. You're all basically saying we will make the schools diverse and increase academic achievement and support for Black students when we feel like it. In return, the NAACP will relinquish any power to the Equity Committee. The Equity Committee will have no authority. They will only make recommendations to us. At all times, ultimate authority remains with us. Under Section 5, it states, the district shall endeavor to employ at least one African-American teacher at each school. It shall endeavor. So basically, you're going to try to employ one Black teacher, not will, but shall endeavor. And how do you measure a shall endeavor? Meanwhile, we are constantly losing Black teachers and administrators, and I have spoken to over 5 Black homegrown candidates within this year who went to college, graduated, came back, applied here, and you all did not hire them. They were all teacher certified, and we all know that Florida has a teacher certification struggle. And in our district, we have teachers who are employed and struggling to get certified, but we did not hire these candidates. Yet under Section 3, bullet point E, you list identifying African-American high school students in the district who would make great teachers, offering the students mentors while in school, and if they are successful in graduating college, attempt to contact these identified students for recruitment purposes. Attempt to contact. So what is that you're bound to do in that? You're basically agreeing to document your efforts. You've paid over $1 million so that through documenting your efforts, not performing or achieving, you will be relieved of responsibilities to make schools diverse and ensure that all students are successful, including Black students. It is not bad enough that you already praise a strategic plan that has no measurable and specific goals. When are we going to stop praising efforts and do what's necessary to get results? Or are you going to continue to spin numbers and mislead the community? For instance, Dr. Rendell stated in the agreement press release that African-American students' graduation rate has raised from 60% to 80% in the last 3 years, but failed to mention that 70% of those graduates cannot read on grade level. So what are we celebrating? Pushing students through the system and releasing them to the world where they will struggle? Or that you are able to manipulate numbers and still get paid for failing a majority of our students? I am baffled and ashamed that anyone would sign this agreement because clearly it's not in the best interest of the Black students, administration, and staff. And I don't know how anyone in good conscience can support it. I ask you that you guys do not vote to submit this and accept this, and I can only hope that this new board will put the students first. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out. Thank you for your comments. Okay, there's no need for applause. Presentations are over. Thank you. Okay. Dr. Rendell, at this time, would you please present the item?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In action item D, the Joint Plan for Achieving Unitary Status is a historic document that declares that our district has achieved unitary status in several areas of the court order, and in 3 years may achieve a full unitary status, ending a court order that has been in place for over 50 years. I ask that the board ratify the agreement that was signed last week.
Okay, you've heard the item. This time I'll entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Mrs. Justice moves approval.
Second.
Mrs. Zork seconds. Would you like to speak to your motion, ma'am?
It's taken many months for us to get to this process, and we've worked in mediation with the NAACP. This is a collaborative document, and the comments in executive session are not comments that can be shared. That is privileged information, confidential information. So I think that has led many members of our community to have a lack of understanding about how this document was created, the collaborative process that went into it. And I hope at some point, perhaps at the end of the 3 years, we'll be able to have some transparency as far as the different steps that were taken throughout this mediation process to arrive at this agreement. And until that point, as a board member, you are at times tied, your ability to be as transparent in something in this type of a situation is compromised, and it's frustrating, to be quite honest. That's just part of having this job and this responsibility. So I will be voting for this evening.
Would you like to speak to your second, ma'am? Mrs. Ork.
No, I know.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you
It's
needed a
just,
second.
I'm disappointed, but, in the comments that I heard tonight, but, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful going forward. I'm hopeful that trust can be built, and I'm hopeful that whoever is up here with Mrs. Justice and I, we can prove everything that was said tonight wrong, because I know I'm here for the kids, all kids. And so I just hope I can prove you wrong. That's all I can say.
Any further discussion? Mr. Schuster, you recognize her.
This process started 50 years ago, and I would compliment this board for pushing forward to get at least these 3 items of the judge's order completed. It's not over, but for this board to take credit for moving it ahead is a home run. I'm telling you, it's a home run. No matter what anybody else says, we've made progress, and it didn't come easy. We visited on a regular basis with the NAACP. They've signed off on the document. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what they want, but this board has made progress, and I think it's outstanding progress, and we've got work to do, but we're going to let Mrs. Ork and Ms. Justice handle that from now on. But this is a good start to getting this situation straightened out. And after waiting 50 years, it's a blessing as far as I'm concerned to see it the way it is. So thank you, Sean.
Thank you. And I'll keep my comments brief and try not to repeat anything, but this is a milestone. This isn't the end of the road. This isn't the ribbon. No one's hanging the medal around our neck at the end of the marathon. This is just kind of to Mr. Searcy's point, this is the next logical step, and something that I think everyone who's been involved with it should have some semblance of pride, even if that we agreed to come together as a community and begin working together. The goal was never to bring anybody to their knees. It was to bring them to the table and to get us to start working together as a community. And I believe that the previous board, Mrs. Jimenez and Mr. McCain, and everyone on this board has held not as a getting out from under the desegregation order as a goal, but to achieve unitary status, to set that positive framework. And I believe that what this document does is it puts us on the next step to achieving that goal. And much credit to Mrs. DiAgresta and Dr. Rendell in the process, who were in the room during mediation and represented the board. To Mrs. Justice's point, the whole story won't be known for 3 years, but I can tell you that I had a lot less gray hair when I started this job 4 years ago, but I'm happy with the results because we are much closer. And I do know that every single board member has in their heart, in their goal, a true education system that serves all students with excellence, regardless of race, color, creed, religion, whatever label one wishes to put on things to try to divide us. This is an effort for us to come together and move together and make progress together. And for that reason, I look forward to ratifying this and signing it. So, any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. And with that, we are finished with our action item agenda. Dr. Rendell, you're recognized for a superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At the beginning of the meeting, one of the videos we watched was of a tunnel of hope at Dodgertown Elementary School, and there were many comments about participating in a tunnel of hope is a very uplifting and joyful experience. The next tunnel of hope is at Vero Beach Elementary School, October 22nd at 9 a.m. So if you are interested in participating in a tunnel of hope, please join us at Vero Beach Elementary School, October 22nd at 9 a.m. It is an experience that you will enjoy and you will never forget. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay. Well, we've completed that. We're on to the discussion. No board member asked to have a discussion placed on the agenda item at this time. Is there anything a board member would wish to discuss? Hearing none. On to school board member matters. Mrs. Orr, would you like to begin?
Oh, thank you. It's been a really fun past 2 weeks. So we've had Kelm Bearden, who came in from Atlanta, who spoke to the teachers, that was exciting. Hopefully the teachers and the staff enjoyed the presentation because she hit a lot on the area of culture and climate, and I know that's an area that we're striving and we're aiming to improve. And then attending the Tunnel of Hope at Dodgertown was also a privilege. And, you know, I don't think anyone up here has ever said that we're perfect, and I don't think there's anything that, personally, there's nothing that I'm not willing to learn from. So I have an open door policy, and I just encourage anyone and everyone that would like to come in and speak with me one-on-one. Having your 3 minutes up here doesn't really give you the time that you need to really talk about concerns and issues. So I would encourage anyone that comes to the meetings or is watching by television to please come in and meet with us. We're here for you. And I would love to sit down with you and discuss various items because it really is hard the way that this is set up here. And I'm probably into discussion, aren't I? So I'm sorry. But I just, it's really the way that the board meetings are laid out. It's hard whenever you get up here to talk for 3 minutes and then we can't really address your comment. So I would encourage everyone to please reach out to me and the other board members. And that's basically what I have to say tonight.
Okay. Mr. Searcy, would you like to go next, sir?
Yeah, and each one of the board members, I think, got a copy of this, the school safety inspection reports. And I guess I was concerned because it sounded like we've got an infestation of fire ants, and we've got a lot of issues that are dangerous to our students and faculty. And my question is, who follows up on this and ensures that the fire ants are gone, the mold is gone, all of the items listed in these bunches and bunches of pages at each school, who follows up to make sure that those issues are corrected?
Thank you, Mr. Searcy. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Teskey. There's a combination of personnel that are involved, some site-based at the schools and then some district-based staff.
Yes, sir. We've implemented since last year monthly playground meeting inspection overview. I've kind of bridged the gap between code and compliance and inspection with maintenance. I've got those personnel and staff now working together and talking. Rather than letting those work orders build up and stack up, we're now tracking them monthly. Each Friday during our operations meeting, we designate a select amount of time just to talk about playgrounds and repairs. So we need to do a better job. We're slowly moving in that direction to track the work orders, ensure the installations are happening, and then follow back up with the school-based administration to make sure that it's done. It's going to be a work in progress, but I think bridging the gap between code and compliance and maintenance is going to help with those concerns.
Mr. Searcy,
Is there any pecking order as to what the importance, the fire ants? I think that's a big deal.
Yes, sir.
Safety on the slides and all that good stuff. I mean, is there any order, or do you just, the next work order is the one we work on?
No, safety violations take precedence. Those will be responded to that day. If we have hornets or wasps or fire ants, we will send out technicians that day. But the work orders for the equipment themselves are prioritized by safety and code violations. And then, of course, the best, way to solve this, the principals will pick up the phone and call us or send us emails and pictures, and we'll dispatch our physical plant operators there within that day.
And I guess the last question, well, it may not be, but I'm going to call it the last question. Do you have enough staff to handle the needs of all of our schools and getting these safety issues under control?
That's a difficult question because summers are very busy. So summertime, there's never enough time. Things do slow down once school starts, but I'd just like to remind everyone that putting in a work order or finding a deficiency sometimes isn't a bad thing. Sometimes our work orders in maintenance increase because we're adhering to codes and compliance that may have not been recognized or adhered to in the past. So the number of work orders isn't always a bad thing. It means we're working with the building department and code and compliance to put them in the pecking order of where it needs to be done. And we do see an increase in work orders with playground inspections and equipment just for that reason. The fall protection was what we worked on over the summer, the depth of the mulch. That was the big issue after Irma, getting all the playgrounds back to. Yes, we can always use more hands on deck, but we're limited, so we do prioritize based on safety first.
Good. Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all I got.
Mrs. Justice, you're recognized.
Thank you, sir. The Day of Caring with the United Way is on September 8th, and many of you might remember that we participated in this last year. It's very important that not only the United Way does a lot for our community partners that help our students, and this is an opportunity for us to give back to our community and a great lesson for our students. So on September 8th, the Day of Caring, United Way Day of Caring will be happening. If you'd like to volunteer at your child's school, or if you're a community member that's watching and you'd like to volunteer at a school that's close to you, reach out to that school and let them know. They'd be happy to have you. Again, this year it'll be held at First Presbyterian Church. There'll be a kickoff breakfast at the church, and then we will be assembling homeless care kits. Many of you might remember that our middle school students and our high school students came together last year to assemble 1,000 homeless care kits, many donations from Publix and other different groups to make that happen. And then our law enforcement officers locally handed those out over the course of the year. So this year there's some interesting ideas about doing some more targeted handing out of the bags to some of our homeless families that we serve in the school district, students and other community partners that we have. So just a great day to come out and show your community that, that we love the United Way. They do great things for us, and we want to help celebrate and support them. The other thing I'd like to invite people to is the opening of an early bird classroom at the Dodgertown campus. Many people may not be aware, but initially, when I first joined the school board, I've always had a passion for early childhood education. I have 4 children, and as their parent, I recognize that I'm their first teacher. And I recognize that my children had an opportunity to attend a very good preschool program, but not every student has that same opportunity. And so when I originally started, Dr. Rendell was working on a project, and we discussed a project about trying to bring the community together to open a preschool for 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds on the Dodgertown campus, that the students would then be able to enter the VPK program and continue on basically creating a cocoon of care for these students, where they would have their parents on the campus, and then they would continue on at that school. And that, unfortunately, at the time was not something that we were able to raise sufficient funding to make happen. This is very exciting because there will be a 3-year-old classroom opening up on the Dodgertown campus this year. We thank all of our community partners that have funded this through the Early Learning Coalition, and it's just a very exciting thing for us to have in our community to afford the students of Dodgertown Elementary. It's a start. A high-quality early school education. I know I see Brooke Fled, and I know she's really happy. She was part of a team of people that had worked really hard to make this a reality. So just very thankful for this. I invite everyone to come out and celebrate increasing opportunities for our students in our community.
Okay. And I have nothing. Dr. Rendell, do you have anything for the superintendent's closing?
Nothing further, Mr. Chair.
Okay, with no further business before us, we are adjourned.